the hell? Martin Perrault, third mate. Oh, maybe it's in the end. Hold on. That's weird. Okay. Let's take a look. I don't know how I could have missed that. Sorry, I'm looking through this thing. Got the third mate steward here. Means I didn't see him. Well, hold on. Maybe I can look up the pictures. Because the third mate would be one of these dudes. That's weird. Oh. He's in the lazarette. There's no way for me to know that now. Oldest waiter, gunner's mate. I thought I got that. By an unknown attacker. Oh. I don't know where the hell he is, though. This may take a minute. Be soothed by the sound of the sloshing water. And the little drops of rain. The hell, where is this guy? John Davies, the fourth mate. I don't know how I didn't know that. I don't know if that's right or not. The captain's steward, but he was the guy who... Wow, okay. First off, we're gonna look up Zheng Li, because I obviously... Wow, he's generic as fuck, too. He's just a random angry dude. Was shot by a gun by Charles Minor. What the fuck? I don't know how I could have gotten that so wrong. But I did. Again, I got nothing for you there. I don't know how the hell I didn't. Was supposed to know that or didn't. Okay. Now we can go.
We should go. Storm's
Yes, we should.
out, so we won't be coming back.
I have no reason to go back up there, sir. I'm sorry.
Finally. Sit down so you don't fall out.
Sit down before you fall down. Yeah, this took me almost 2 hours to do, but I'm glad I did it because I wanted to be done with it. I don't like having incomplete games on my LP list. Like Resident Evil Revelations and Silent Hill 2. 1 week later. I keep my death clock, cause why not? I don't know if they're setting up for a sequel with that or what. The book returns to its original owner, Henry Evans in Morocco, as requested. One year later. God, I want to drink that tea. Give me that tea.
Oh, goodness. What a nice thing. You know, you should be out in a sense. Right, well, pick yourself up.
Give me the tea.
I said hello.
Can you believe it? A package at this hour.
A package.
It smells just dreadful. Better you don't open it inside. I'll be turning in now. Tea's in the kitchen if you need more.
Okay, that's interesting. What could it be? By the way, we don't know what happened to the monkey. Chief Inspector, I write to you with the unfortunate news that Dr. Evans has passed away. He succumbed to his illness shortly after receiving your package. He was very pleased with your correspondence and asked that his gratitude be expressed by returning the book to you, along with the means to complete it. As for the three of us that remain, the Obra Dinn is a distant memory and a dreadful chapter in our lives that we wish to forget. Do not write back. Regards, Jane Bird. Okay, that's the letter. This is the... What the hell? Let's see what we got.
There you are. Collect your things. Where's the key? to that door. Gone.
Damn.
There's no time. We need to go.
Right.
What are you up to?
Oh. Oh, shit. Why would the surgeon shoot the monkey? Why would the surgeon shoot the monkey? Yeah, that's fucked up. Third mate Martin Perrault. I don't know who that was. Okay, bargain. Oh, the monkey. The monkey died, okay. In the lazarette. A friendly but not entirely pleasant monkey companion was sacrificed in the pursuit of knowledge.
A third shell. The captain didn't toss them all.
Leave it. Help me lift this.
Stop! Why? Well, set you free.
You idiots!
Give it the shell. Do it.
Hoist it out. To the main deck. Throw it over. Lock the door when you leave.
Get the tail, boy.
In return, the ship. The Obra Dinn. See it home.
Oh, he was spiked. Ouch. But he ain't dead. Captain Steward. Philip Dahl. Oh, he stuck his arm in there and got burned, okay. So these two are bringing the mermaids in, alright. No, he did not. He was spiked.
I'll kill every last one of you monsters. Withdraw the Kraken, or I will kill you all!
Alright, he got a shell and got burned for it. He is threatening to kill the mermaids. Doesn't appear to be anything else to see here. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So it looks like he's...
Damn you! This is your Kraken! You brought it here! Send it back!
So he is just murdering mermaids. There's stuff down there, I just can't quite see it. So he killing mermaids. Trying to get the Kraken off. So to speak.
What's this? Quicksilver.
Something tell me he stuck his arm somewhere he shouldn't have. Poor dope. Wait, where's the... Oh, okay. I see what happened. I don't know why they locked him in there with the fucking... I guess it was the closest thing they had to a brig is where they put that shell thing. And he was burned. Da-na-na-na. I would like to see them make another game in this like universe with this mechanic. You know, you could do so much with it. You can go to a house, you can like have a train, you can do whatever you wanted. It's a mighty fine game. Okay, as the credits roll, we are going to read... This is an online gameplay tips and guide. I'm just going to read what he says here about, like, each chapter and everything. And, Written by Mizzello on October 20th, 2018 on gameplay.tips. Okay. So in 1803, the Obra Dinn is set to embark for Asia, making a stop at Cape Hope. The ship had a crew of 51 strong and 9 passengers, most notable among them a pair of Formosan royal guards and their 2 royals. The Formosan passengers were transporting an important chest holding some sort of magic to help keep monstrosities at sea. At bay. A conspiracy to target the chest and its owners and the mishandling of the situation afterwards will result in the terrible set of incidents leading to the demise of 57 souls. Chapter 1, Loose Cargo. Before setting off, a tragic incident occurs when the Obra Dinn is still in port. As cargo is being loaded onto the ship, the first 2 deaths happen. A rope holding a pallet of cargo comes loose and crushes Samuel Peters, and a stowaway hiding in a barrel on the same pallet is killed by the fall. Nathan, Samuel's brother, comes to blame fellow seaman Lars Lindy for the incident. Chapter 2, Bitter Cold. About halfway to the Canary Islands, a pair of Indian seamen begin suffering fatal symptoms from a lung disease in the middle of the night. Around this time, most passengers are asleep, save for 3 Russians. This memory provides vital information for identifying a dozen so passengers. Solomon Saeed dies in this hammock, and Renford Rajib passes away shortly after. Sorry, I had to take my glasses off. Can't read the computer with my glasses. As Renford is hauled off to be placed in a coffin, the 3 midshipmen help the butcher Emil O'Farrell slaughter a cow for his beef. The croupier, Charles Hirschstick, vomits after finishing his roll. Chapter 3, Murder. As the ship approaches the Canary Islands, a plot boils to steal the chests from the Formosan royals are guarding. It is indeterminate whether it was planned from the start or concocted midway, and if the conspirators also initially planned to kidnap the royals. The conspirators are the second mate and a steward, Edward Nichols and Samuel Galligan. The 2 Russian seamen Alexei Topolov and Larkus Nishkikin, Irish seaman Patrick O'Hagan, and Chinese topman Li Hong. Second mate Edward attempts to steal the chest at night, knocking out Huxun Lao in the cargo hold. Musician Nunzio Pasquale hears the commotion and investigates and is unwittingly murdered. Instead of stealing the chest that night, Edward instead frames Huxung for Nunzio's murder. Captain Robert Witterell mentions that Huxung confessed in murdering Nunzio. The most plausible explanation to me was that either Li Hong purposely mistranslated the Formosan's statement to get him executed, or that he did so to take the heat off the other Formosans. Regardless, he's sent to death by firing line. Seaman Patrick, Alexei, and John Naples miss, but Henry O'Brien files the single fatal shot. Half of the remaining crew attends the execution. The night of the execution, the conspirators smuggle the chest out and kidnap the royals Bun Lan Lim and It Bing Xia. In the process, they end up incapacitating Lars and midshipman Peter Milroy, also stabbing helmsman Finley Dalton through the leg in the process. Edward, holding Bun Lan hostage, is threatened by topman Timothy Bootmont and shoots him off the side of the ship. Timothy ends up dangling off a rope afterwards, his lower leg somehow remaining there for the rest of the journey. The conspirators... Chapter 4, The Calling. The conspirators begin rowing away from the ship and 2 of its lifeboats, hoping to reach the Canary Islands first. Bun Lan warns It Bang that the chest cannot fall into the ocean, likely as it serves as some kind of countermeasure against terrible evil. The Chinese conspirator, Li, catches a bit of this conversation and warns his crewmates. He gets spiked through the torso by a mermaid for his troubles, narrowly missing It Bang. As the conspirators begin to recognize their predicament, It Bang begins to escape his bonds to follow Bun Lan's orders and head for the chest. The Larkus is grabbed and dragged into the ocean while Patrick is spiked in the throat. It Bang rushes forward and stabs the rope steward Samuel in the side of his neck. While attempting to stay low, Bun Lan is instead clawed in her face and neck. Edwards resorts to cowering in the bottom of his lifeboat in fear as Alexei is pulled by his arm out of his lifeboat. It Bang finally manages to open the chest, releasing its contents and neutralizing the mermaids. In the process, his arm slips in and is melted to the bone. As the Obra Dinn catches up, Edward realizes the danger is gone and pulls the mermaids onto the lifeboats. Excuse me. The remaining Formosan Chiotan shoots him from below the deck as he approaches, either as revenge for his actions or to prevent him from bringing the mermaids on board. The bodies of Lee and Patrick have been lost at some point between this memory and the last. God, I've been talking for a long time. Chapter 5, Unholy Captives. The ship has begun turning back towards England or towards the Azores, likely due to the deaths of the Formosans. After Edward is shot, Seaman Hamadou Diom restrains Tio and he is brought up top to explain himself. He describes the importance of the shell, but immediately afterwards he and Hamadou are spiked by the mermaids as they are hauled on board. As seamen begin hauling the mermaids down to the lazarette, the ship cook Thomas Sefton joins to observe and comment about them. As he observes a shell, a mermaid retaliates by fatally striking him in the face with her tail. This unbalances the seamen, and as the front two tumble down the staircase, William Mossam is crushed between the bed carrying the mermaid and the wall at the end of the staircase. For one reason or another, the seaman John's leg is sliced off by the captain's steward, Philip Dahl. As he's restrained, Philip warns the captain that the mermaids are cursed and must be thrown overboard to avoid disaster. Robert ignores this and instead has him chained up in the lazarette. John dies due to his injury, despite the best efforts of the surgeon and his mate, with a severed leg remaining in a corner of the side of the cargo deck. Chapter 6, Soldiers of the Sea. In the midst of a thunderstorm, terrible spider crab-riding beasts have begun boarding the ship. Topman Hong Lee is struck by lightning as he climbs the rigging, falling to the deck below as two beasts climb on board the starboard, up port and starboard. As he climbs down the rigging, Topman Nicholas Beltrell is stabbed by the beast. Most everyone above deck has begun to realize the predicament, starts fleeing below deck, either to acquire weapons or to hide. As the crew members scramble through the decks, the beasts begin heading for the lazarette. As they descend through the gun deck, fourth mate John Davies approaches from behind and his steward Davy James watches from cover. Carpenter's mate Marcus Gibbs attempts to catch the beast's attention, hurling an axe towards it. The beast retaliates by slaughtering him with spikes, also catching Carpenter Winston Smith on the shoulder as he attempts to dissuade Marcus. In the center of the orlop deck, one of the beasts simultaneously decapitates Topman Ji Zhang and the surgeon's mate James Wallace. Two of them as shipmen engage it with swords, and Thomas Lanky falling over into the cow's enclosure. The third midshipman, Charles, hurls a lantern at it to set it on fire. The butcher Emil retreats holding a spear, while behind him the ship steward Zungi Santhi crawls away with a spike in his back. Gunner Christian Wolf hands out guns from the armory to the boatswain and his mate Alfred Klestel and Charles Miner. Gunner's mate Olas Miter opens the bow side door to the cargo hold. Above, John and Topman Omid Cool attempt to engage in the other beast as it heads down, and Nathan drags Winston behind a wall and takes the spike out of his shoulder. First mate William Huskett takes aim at the beast from below. The midshipman Charles has climbed on top of the beast, likely attempting to restrain it as the two of them burn to death. Emil has been spiked several times to a nearby wall. Peter stabs the beast a final time, while Alfred and the surgeon Henry advance and Winston and Nathan descend the staircase. Thomas watches from nearby, either injured or exhausted, as Zungi continues to crawl toward the port walk and the nearby purser, Duncan McKay hides in his office. William and the boatswain's mate Charles take cover from the other beast approaching bow side. The surgeon Henry attempts to save Emil, but he bleeds out before anything can be done. Zungi continues to stumble through the port walk to find cover, at this point having removed the spike from his back. Peter extinguishes the burning beast and his crewmate's corpse while Thomas watches. Nathan opens the stern side door to the cargo hold as the injured Winston takes Alfred's blunderbuss. As Christian and Olis continue to grab armaments, the last beast descends from the gun deck. William, Alfred, and his mate Charles engage it with firearms while Omid and Robert attack it with swords. As Zungi leans against the wall in the port walk, he is shot through the other side by a stray bullet from the boatswain's mate. The last monster has made it to the bow side cargo hold staircase. Omid and Charles chase it from above, while Seaman Alexander Booth and topman Maba approach it from below. Nathan stabs it from below the staircase as it grabs onto Alexander's spear. Winston has crossed the cargo deck and confronts the beast at the bottom of the staircase. As it stabs him multiple times with its appendages, he returns the favor with the full force of the blunderbuss. And here we go, Chapter 7, The Doom. Get ready, this is going to be a long one. Recognizing the danger they're in, the multiple crew members attempt to escape the ship after dark. As Lars attempts to join Nathan, Alexander, and Duncan on the lifeboat, he is clubbed by Nathan as vengeance for his brother's accidental demise. On the gun deck below on the gun deck level of the bow. That's really hard. On the gun deck level of the bow, artist Edward Spratt is crushed to death by the Kraken while defecating. Omid looks at the deserting crew members while the fourth mate and the steward John and Davy observe Lars' corpse. As the crew sees the Kraken, multiple crew members begin to engage it from below deck. The gunner, Christian, directs several crew members to fire the cannons. After one of the cannons is lit, the Kraken grabs it along with seaman Abraham Akbar through the portal, crushing the two together and latching Christian and seaman George Shirley to its barrel. The cannon fires, obliterating Christian and George, crashing through the right wall and knocking a nearby cannon loose. The third mate, Martin Perot, and his steward, Roderick Anderson, descend to investigate the commotion, as well as the two remaining midshipmen. As the Kraken rocks the ship, Martin warns the steward that to find his footing. Roderick is crushed by a loose cannon into the wall behind him. By this point, the crew has begun engaging the Kraken above deck, with Ollis and John delivering firearms up and Mabo wielding his sword up top. Peter, who was like delivering gunpowder or intending to blow up the Kraken's tentacles, is grabbed by the Kraken. Thomas attempts to pull him back with a rope, but the gunpowder explodes, severing a tentacle and killing Peter. The ship bucks portside, stumbling the spectators and sending Omid falling off the rigging into the waves below. Wow, okay, I don't know how the hell he saw that. After Maba stabs the Kraken through a tentacle, it grabs him and tears his legs from his torso. The Kraken tosses the lifeboat containing Nathan, Alexander, and Duncan into the air and sends them into the water below. Charles and topman Leonid Volkov attack the Kraken with spears, with Leonid throwing his into a tentacle. Martin and John wield rifles against it, and Ollis tosses one to Alfred. The captain's wife, Abigail Haska Witterell, wanders out of her cabin in search of her husband. Martin warns her to get back inside, but she is hit by a mast wielded by the Kraken as first mates steward Paul Moss and the remaining passengers Emily Jackson and Miss Bird watch. Ollis has fallen over and takes aim with a pair of flintlocks. The helmsman Finley is grabbed by the Kraken and pulled into the water. The topman Wheelay is swept off the rigging. Alfred's arm is torn off by the monster, and his mate Charles, whose spear is stuck in the tentacle, is torn apart shortly after. Topman Lewis Walker drags Maba's upper half away. Chapter 8, The Bargain. The events of this chapter happen concurrent to the ending of the Moments of the Doom and before the start of the escape. While locked in the lazarette, the chase is placed next to Philip. He opens the chest and reaches inside, having his arm melted off and retrieving a shell. While the Kraken is attacking the ship, Robert has locked himself in the lazarette and threatens the mermaids. He shoots the first mermaid and stabs the second as they refuse to cooperate, presumably finally driving the Kraken off. After the Kraken has left, Martin heads down to the lazarette to free the last mermaid with Paul and Davy. As he opens the enclosure, he is spiked multiple times. However, before he dies, he gives it the third shell that Philip has been holding, and he directs the steward to send it back into the sea. Before disembarking, the surgeon Henry heads down to the lazarette. Before he and Paul head out, he lures the monkey into the lazarette and shoots it so the chief inspector may learn what occurred inside using its death. Chapter 9, Escape. After the Kraken has left, a one-armed Alfred is taken below deck. John and Ollis hear out his dying words, while Robert and William head up top, and Thomas ascends from the orlop deck. Paul boards the passengers, Emily and Miss Jane, and the surgeon Henry and Davy onto the last remaining lifeboat, but Leonard attempts to stop him and engages Paul in a sword fight. William and Henry Brennan approach from portside, while Robert ascends the starboard staircase, holding up his flintlock, and Lewis climbs up over the side of the ship. Leonard stops Paul in the chest. On the gun deck, Ollis confides in John his plan to mutiny, while Thomas eavesdrops from behind a nearby wall. I don't know if I ever saw that. Robert aims his flintlock at Leonard and commands him to stop. As Leonard attempts to climb overboard, Emily avenges Paul by shooting his killer through the chest. Their lifeboat safely makes it to Morocco after they're cut loose. After hearing Ollis, Thomas scrambles away and attempts to warn the captain of mutiny. Ollis chases after Thomas and stabs him in the back. In response, John struggles with Ollis and ends up shooting him through the head with the flintlock. Hearing the commotion, William and Henry Brennan begin heading back down. Lewis dumps the bodies of Paul and Leonard overboard. Seeing that John has shot Ollis, Henry Brennan clubs him from behind. Thomas crawls toward the cabin and William heads after him. Thomas bleeds out in the cabin, giving his last words to William. William calls for Henry Brennan to bring him the surgeon's kit to no avail. Chapter 10, The End. Robert has locked himself in his quarters. William and Henry confront him at the door, while Lewis climbs above. When told to hand over the shells, Robert opens the door and shoots William through the chest. Henry confronts Robert in his quarters, and after a brief exchange, the two struggle. He stabs Robert in the shoulder and has his neck sliced open in retaliation. Lewis climbs down from the railing above. After the struggle, Robert catches his breath and removes a spear from his shoulder. Lewis sneaks up and stabs Robert in his side, getting his skull caved in immediately afterward. Robert sits down and reloads his flintlock. After confessing his regrets to Abigail, he commits suicide. Okay, final notes. These are certain details I'm certain of, which is why I decided to make this. I'm unsure where exactly the shells came from, whether they were in possession of the mermaids or if they were in the chest or both. The circumstances around John Naples' death are vague, especially as how his leg ended up across the ship. When exactly the chest was placed in the lazarette is unknown to me. Well, that's it. That's the story of the Obra Dinn. I'm just looking at comments. Sorry. If you've kept up this far, God bless you. So, alright, that's it. Obra Dinn's done. I loved it. And I hope, if you're still watching, I hope you liked it too. That's it for me. Thomas10273 on Twitch and Twitter. MSD3KNJ on YouTube. And we'll see what we do this week. I don't know yet. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.